Good morning, it's Valerie Holdren with Soap Underground and Skincare. This morning I'm going to do another video on lotion making. I'm doing a summer type lotion today. The one that I brought you back several months ago was a thicker, a little heavier lotion. It's great year-round, but some people like a lighter feel for the summer. So I'm going to do that recipe for you today. This recipe I got from Ann Watson, lotion making book. I have tweaked it a little bit just to add my own special little additives just that I like for the skin. So what I'm going to be doing this morning, I'm not going to take you through the whole process of cleaning, sterilizing your equipment, because that's just, you can look back at the original video and see how that's done. It just involves running a soap full of bleachy hot water. I did add a little dishwashing detergent to it, and immersing each piece that you will be using to make your lotion into the water, and rinsing and setting aside to dry. And that I thoroughly clean everything with the bleach soap water, even down to my spatulas, my stick blender, every little thing. And I go ahead when I'm doing that and sterilize additional pieces just in case I drop one or I forget something and I'm like, oh, I have to stop and go back and do it again. So I like to try and stay one step ahead by sterilizing extra pieces, even though I may not need them. I will show you quickly how I sterilize my jars. Some people do it in the bleach water, but I don't. I do it by taking my jars and spraying inside thoroughly, even around the rim on the outside. And I turn it upside down on a clean paper towel. And then I do the same for the lid. And that, so far, I've been making lotions now for about 4 to 6 months. I can't remember. I've not had one batch go bad on me yet. But I can't stress enough how important it is to have a clean, sterile workspace, which I've done with my Clorox wipes. I just make sure that everything is really wiped down. When you're mixing oils and water, you need a preservative, and so that's, and keeping a sterile workspace helps to protect your finished product from any impurities. So I'll be back. Okay, I have measured out my water, and this particular recipe calls for 37.5 ounces of water. And the one thing I did learn is you do need to measure out more water than what you're actually going to use, because the water will evaporate while it's cooking or heating. So what I did was added 38 ounces of water to allow for evaporation. And then of course I'll pour it into a different container when I'm ready to measure it out to make sure that I have 37.5 for accuracy. Now, the recipe does not call for it, but I add it to mine just because colloidal oatmeal is wonderful for our skin. So I add about 1 tablespoon, and to my water and whisk it together. And then while it cooks, you might get, you know, some little clumpier pieces, but it's easily stick blended out. But I just go ahead and whisk it together real well before I even get started heating it to hopefully prevent a lot of clumps. Then another thing that I've learned is if we cover it while it's in the microwave, it helps to prevent some of the loss of the water. So, and then what I do is I take and put this into my microwave, and I start at 10 minutes because I like to get it up to between 180, 190 in temperature. So I start at 10 minutes, but usually I have to go about 12. So I'm going to put this into the microwave and get it started heating, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to measure out my oils because they don't need to be heated as long to reach a really hot temperature. Both of them I like between 180, 190 temperature wise before I actually mix them together. So I'm going to get this started, measure out my oils, and then we'll come back. One other little tip that I forgot to mention, I learned last time. I set my water down in another bowl, and that way if it does boil over, it's not all out in the microwave, it's in the bowl underneath, and you can actually, you know, save some of it. So that's just another little tip. You might want to use it, you might not, but it works for me. Plus, it makes it easier when I'm getting these out of the microwave. It's not as hot as this glass. I've now measured out my oils and wax, and I'm going to go ahead and give you the recipe. Now I do my oils and e-wax, my preservative and my fragrance in grams. It's just easier, and they say it's more accurate. So I do that in grams, but I do my water in ounces. So this is going to make 6 8-ounce jars, this and my water. Now I have some little samples here. I'm going to fill up some samples that I give out with my soap orders and lotion orders. Now, I will offer you one little suggestion, and you take it and do whatever you will with it. It's great to give out little samples like this. I think it might be a 1/2 ounce, but I love my customers dearly, and but some will want all of your samples and not purchase the lotion. And I do want people to try my lotions before they purchase. But just be careful how many samples you give out, or you'll wind up not selling any lotion. You know, and it is an expense. You have your jars and things to buy. So I'm very giving where my customers are concerned. But just be careful how many people ask for, is what I'm saying. Okay, in here I have 144 grams of almond oil, 27 grams of cocoa butter, 27 grams of stearic acid, 69 grams of emulsifying wax, 18 grams of vitamin E. And this lotion feels super, super silky on your skin. And I'm guessing it's the vitamin E really, you know, helps to make a difference. Plus the almond oil is great. That's in my other recipe too. But the vitamin E in this one is just, adds such a silkiness to the point that I didn't add any silk to my recipe because I don't need it. So I'm going to cover these as well. And my water is still heating. It has probably another 5 minutes left. And then I'll get this heated, and we'll be ready to start making lotion. Okay, my oils are at 203. That took about 4.5 minutes. My water was at 189, so I am good. I also have I'm going to keep my plastic wrap over my oils and waters until we start actually making the lotion. So what I need to do now, I have my large pitcher that I'm going to be mixing in, and I'm going to set it on my scale, and I can't really take you over there without distorting the camera. But here is my water and colloidal oatmeal, and none of it went over into the bowl. I think this plastic wrap on top, ouch, really helps get a pot holder, because that is hot. Lift it out. This to the side. And I do still have a little bit of colloidal oatmeal floating around on top, which will stick blend out. I'm not really worried about it, but okay. Now, just getting the temperature. I'm still sitting at 175. So what I'm going to do now is take this and measure the water. Remember, I need 37.5 ounces, and there's 38. I started with 38, and I just want to make sure that I have that much before I start mixing my two together. So I'm just going to measure it out back in ounces. And I have 37.65 ounces, so I'm good. I just need to get rid of a little bit of it, pour it back off. 37.50 exactly. And I just have that much left. So I think the little trick about using plastic wrap makes a difference. Okay, now, in the meantime, remember I told you when you spray your jars and things with alcohol to turn them upside down on a paper towel. I did that, and now because I want the alcohol smell to be completely gone, I turn them right side up to let them air out. So you can wipe them out too a little bit just to make sure. So now I'm getting ready to combine our ingredients and make lotion, and you're going to see how quickly that takes place. I mean, almost instantly you're going to see the water liquefying. So I'm going to get my stick blender ready, and I'm going to just give it a few bursts to make sure that that colloidal oatmeal is okay. Now, I'm going to set this on top of here so that maybe that'll drown out a little bit of that noise. I think you can see that. Okay. And now my hot oils. And it's real important, like I said, that you get those oils on up there. Number one, to melt your stearic acid, your e-wax, your cocoa butter, but just for, you know, preservation as well. Okay. So I'm getting ready to mix the two. And see, instantly we're turning white. And I'm just stirring while I do it. I'm going to take my spatula that I used for my oils and scrape down my sides. Get all those luscious oils. Side and just stir. And when you're doing your stick blending, it's hard not to get bubbles and things, but if you can find the right angle to keep from getting so many bubbles and foamy look, that helps a lot. So I start out by stirring it really well, just to, you know, prevent air bubbles. Little short bursts, but see how that wants to splatter up? I need to turn it some. And that keeps it from doing that. Less air bubbles. And then just do it 15 to 30 seconds. And then stop and stir. To keep the shaft of your stick blender, the head of the stick blender, beneath the surface. Okay, now I'm at 152. I cannot add my preservative or my fragrances until I'm at least down to 140. So I like to go to like 130 just for safety's sake. You could even wait a little bit longer if you wanted. So I'm going to step away and let this cool down. I'm guessing it's probably going to take somewhere around 10 minutes and get a lot of my mess cleaned up so that when we come back we can separate into the containers, add the fragrances, and pour. It's been about 15 minutes and I just tested my temperature, and the way I do that for a more accurate reading is to stir it really well, and I gave it a little stick blend just to, you know, so that it pulls all of the oils and things from the bottom, and I'm at 131, so I'm good. And I'm still really thin, which is fine. You know, I don't want it to get too thick before I pour. I could even go down to 120. You know, I could wait that long. But because I had my oils and water so hot, you know, it's taking a little bit longer, but that's okay. Better safe than sorry. That's the way I learned to get your oils and your water on up there in temperature. So that's the way I do it. Some people don't get their, you know, ingredients that hot, but I'm a creature of habit. I did what I learned. So I'm good. I'm gonna you know, I do err on the side of caution. I just don't want to add my preservative too soon and kill the effects of it. Okay, so in goes my Phenonip, is what I use as a preservative because that's the way I learned. It says that it can tolerate a little bit more heat than the others, and it's worked well for me so far, so I'm not going to change it. Plus, I find no offensive odor to it. So in goes my Phenonip to the whole batch. Just get that in there for about 15 seconds. And it says I'm down to 127. So, what I'm going to do now, I do want to show you, even though it's really liquidy, you can see what's on the shaft of that stick blender. It's just so silky. So I'm going to set my stick blender aside. Still have lots of bubbles. So I'm going to stir that down some. Try to get rid of those. And I have my clean containers here that I'm going to pour off the batter, not the batter, the liquid, the lotion, and individually fragrance because I'm making 3 different scents today. So this is for 6 8-ounce jars. I want one 8-ounce jar of cedarwood vanilla, 3 jars of lavender vanilla, and then 1 for a new fragrance that I'm using, Amazing Gracie. Plus I'm going to fill up my little samples with Amazing Gracie. So just going to pour off enough here, hopefully. I think I will do that. I think rather than just eyeball it, I'm going to measure it on my scale. And I want 8 ounces. Okay. That's 1 jar. And into that goes my cedarwood vanilla fragrance. Okay. And a new container. And just stir it. Gonna set it aside. And then in the next one, I want 16 ounces. Sorry you can't see this, but it's too much trouble to try and reposition this tripod. But you know what I'm doing. Okay. That'll be for, no, wait a minute. I need more than 16 for 3. I need 24 ounces, sorry. Math and me don't get along. Okay, that'll be for my lavender vanilla. And then the rest of it is for my Amazing Gracie. So, into this one goes my Amazing Gracie. I'm going to set it to the side. to this one, I'm doing the lavender and vanilla. And then I'm going to take my stick blender. And I have to give it little bursts in here because I don't want it to splash out over the sides. Okay. It's mixed nicely. Then in my smaller one here, not smart. Okay. All right. I'm going to take this one and fill up, and then you just pour. And I give it a little bang. And you can see it's already starting to solidify. Feels amazing. Okay, get rid of that. Sure I got that in there good. Okay. And this is my lavender and vanilla. Into my clean, sterilized jars. There's my 16 ounces, 24 ounces of lavender vanilla. And what I love to do is after I'm done pouring, go back and get all of the lotion out. Okay, now, and then this one is my Amazing Gracie for my sweet granddaughter. And what that is raspberry lemonade. It was her favorite, her new favorite drink when we went out to eat. So I have a soap in her honor and memory, and I have a wonderful lotion as well. Let's give it another little stir. Okay, so I'm gonna, you don't need to watch me pour this one, but I'll bring you back as it sets up and give you a little show of what it looks like. Thank you for joining me. It's been about 30 minutes. I've gotten things cleaned up, and you can see I have my lotions all separated out over here. But I scraped down one of the containers, and I just wanted to show you how creamy that is. It's just amazing. I could do both arms with this little amount. And it's super lightweight, but yet it's conditioning, and this is my Amazing Gracie. It just absorbs into the skin. Excuse my little age spots. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I do hope you'll give it a try. Lotion making can be intimidating, but if you just follow the safety precautions to prevent, bacteria transfer, and by keeping a clean work area, clean containers, clean hands. Some people wear gloves. I don't, because my hands are so clean from the bleach and the alcohol. And, oils and water make the skin, a little slick at times at first until it sinks in. So I just think that, it just helps to prevent spills. I'm sorry that Band-Aid has been such an eyesore, but I cut my hand right in a horrible place the other day, and the Band-Aid just won't stay on. So anyway, enjoy the video, and I hope you'll give it a try.